I love refrigerators.
It's me, Rich Evans.
Scrunches when it crunches. That's why I love Nestle Crunch.
전화기에 넣어주세요.
Okay, so, things aren't great outside, as you can probably tell by just, watching the news or looking outside your window. Now, more than ever, people are feeling cooped up, locked away from the ability to be social outside of the online communities we put together for ourselves through things like chat rooms, social media sites, and, most related to this channel, video games. People need an outlet to stay sane in these dark times, and more frequently that outlet has turned into a longing for escapism, into a fantasy in which we are the heroes of our own stories, in which we can make an impact in these fantasies and save the world. In a society which near constantly we are reminded how pointless struggle is and how inevitable our own demise is, this is important to seek out to a degree for sanity and mental health reasons. We need escapism to survive because without it we have to face the crushing realization of our lives and the hopeless feeling that we as a society all have in the pit of our stomachs. A feeling which we seek to ignore as we plunge deeper and deeper into despair blindly. And so, in the madness of society and the black pit of hopeless depression that is escapism, we find temporary peace, something to distract us for a moment while the world collapses around us, knowing full well there is nothing we can do to fix it. It is here we find the subject of today's video. It is here we find the Froggy.
Detective Frog.
I'll give it to you. Wait for you to get it on your own.
Detective Frog.
I'll deliver to you.
The Detective Frog is a wholesome and amazing series of video games by the amazingly talented Grace Bruxner about a frog, well, being a detective. The world's second best, to be specific. You see, there's a mystery to solve, and Lobster Cop was too busy for the case. So, it's come to you instead. Now, you're tasked with solving the spooky mystery that is the Haunted Island. I know it sounds positively frightening, but don't worry, the Frog Detective is here, and he is a squishy little handsome lad that will get to the bottom of it all right quick. Just look at this fella. If I had to actually describe what the Frog Detective is about, it's think of Sherlock Holmes, but mixed with this childlike feeling of wonder and glee and joy that runs throughout the entire game. It's like an incredibly simple and easy to solve mystery without much in the way of twists or turns to expand in its runtime or its story, and that's sort of largely the point of it. Instead, the focus is more on capturing that feeling of childlike wonder and happiness you get from playing pretend with your toys as a little child. It's nice, soothing, and really in this time of general uncertainty and anxiety which has felt inescapable for so long, it's just really nice to have something like this that goes and harks back to that age of when things used to be joyful, when games used to feel fun and original and bright and colorful. It really does feel like a sort of childlike glee was taken when making this game, and that Grace Bruxner sort of embodied the feeling of, what's it like to play with your toys as a kid? That's what it feels like. It feels like, you had a bunch of toys as a kid and you put them all together in a little toy box. That's this. In terms of gameplay, well, lacking is almost sorta too much of a term to describe it. Really, there isn't much gameplay at all, besides either viewing things through your magnifying glass or talking to people as you piece together the case and collect the required items to complete an explosive device, which, this little bean helped to construct an explosive device, and don't quote me here, but I think it may be illegal to construct and use an explosive device without proper legal paperwork and approval, Mr. Frog. Oh my god, Mr. Frog, how could you? Anyway, possible terrorist actions aside, the overall vibe of this game is just very sweet and genuine. It's goofy, but not in a way where it's trying too hard to be funny or chocked full of outdated memes or anything like that. It's just like, I don't know, man, some of the jokes just hit super well, considering that there's no real voice acting and it's just reading text. But I mean, look at some of this stuff. It just makes me smile, man. It just has so much character in it, despite the fact it's just basically text boxes. But beyond the quirky tongue-in-cheek writing and the cute visuals, there's also just this really cute cast of lovable characters which manages to shine through. And yeah, well, there's not a ton of interaction. It really makes an impact and is something special. Like, look at Fresh X here, just vibing. Or Larry, the international terrorist over here, looking shady. Or heck, even just look at these cute little critters lying around the island that have so much character, and I got cute little smiles. Look at these cute little fellas. Everyone and everything has a cute little childlike personality, and you know what, I just enjoy it. I just enjoy the fact that it sort of embraces this feeling of wonder, this feeling of glee. It makes me happy, makes me feel warm inside. Just like, look man, I don't know how to say it more. The game's cute, the game's funny, and if you've been feeling down in the dumps or just all around depressed or anxious lately, it's a really sweet way to just relax for a while. A nice way to let go and sort of focus on other things besides, you know, whatever's going on outside. The downside here is mainly the fact that the Detective Frog doesn't exactly have the most dense or replayable story. It's sort of a one and done experience you play through a single time, maybe a second later if you're feeling it sometime down the road. For me, I don't mind so much. I like the smaller experiences, and the fact that this only has a runtime of about an hour isn't the worst thing for me because I still really enjoyed it. But for people that want a gameplay experience that lasts a very, very long time or is very, very replayable, this probably isn't the best choice for them just because it is only $5, but it does only run an hour. If you have that money to spare, go ahead. Absolutely, I think it's well worth it. But otherwise, I can totally understand why people wouldn't want to get into it. But needless to say, if anything I've shown you up until now looks good, I would try to pick it up, play it for yourself, because you'll probably really enjoy it. If you're a big fan of those types of, like, you know, mystery games or stuff like that, or just cute games like this in general that are very wholesome, then you're probably gonna love it. But if you're not really a fan of that, or if that's not your thing, then also at the same time I understand not wanting to get into it. For me though, the Frog Detective means something else. It means sort of a return to form for me. It's this childlike nature and innocence that exists about it, which just really speaks to me. It reminds me of why I first fell in love with games in the first place, with beautiful worlds like Mario 64 or Banjo-Kazooie, which are just full of this cute cartoonish vibe that I really like. You know, that sort of old visual style that used to be there where everything was bright and colorful and cute, and it just felt nice and childlike. I feel like lately a lot of things have focused more on the gritty nature of stuff, and again, I like that stuff, obviously. It's what I talk about a majority of the time on this channel, but I guess I've realized recently that I shouldn't just focus my ideas on just that type of media. I have to open my eyes and expand more, really expand more, and look at things from a different perspective, which is why I've been getting into more wholesome games lately, especially with everything going on. You see, with the world going to hell in a handbasket like it is, it's sometimes nice to turn to escapism and to escape into these cute games. Not everything always needs to be dreary, and not everything needs to be depressing. Yes, I like those games, but right now with the world as it is, it's hard to play those games and not feel it weigh down on your soul like 1,000 tons of bricks. And so I turned to playing a lot of cute things lately. A lot of very, very fun and sweet things that have really been helping me through all this. One of them is a little game called A Short Hike. This here little ditty makes my heart go doki doki, with its cute visual, fun soundtrack, and a rather thoughtful story about anxiety and escapism which stands at its core. You see, A Short Hike is a game about, well, its namesake really. You're on a vacation with your aunt as you wait for a call from your mother after a rather long operation. The only issue being that you don't get any signal outside of the top of the mountain nearby. So you spend the whole game talking to people, climbing this mountain, and all around just exploring, seeing the beauty of nature as you explore and you have fun, and there's this cute little soundtrack going out through everything. It's nice, it's really thoughtful, and I wish there was more time to talk about it, but the reason I bring it up now is because it is a game pretty much all about escapism. You're exploring this environment, you're talking to people, also you can get away from the fact that you're waiting for your mother to finish an operation, and at the end of the game, you receive a call from her telling you that it's okay and everything went okay. But up until that point, you're not really aware of what's going on. Instead, you're just told that there's some vague thing you're waiting for a call for, and nobody actually addresses it. Instead, it's just sort of pushed away. And then at the end, there's this emotional scene where you're talking to your mother and about how much you miss her and about how you've kind of been dealing with it. And it made me think about how we all deal with anxiety and stress, because now more than ever, it's incredibly important to find healthy ways to deal with these things. And it brought to mind another game that a lot of people turn to during this time. A little game called Animal Crossing. However, I feel a bit unprepared to deal with a conversation about Animal Crossing, so I think I'll call in a professional instead. Somebody with a PhD in Animal Crossing.
Who mentioned Animal Crossing? So as Dem said, I went to college. And not just any, the one with the cute dogs and the nice tanuki. Yeah, Animal Crossing is my safe space, my gentle zone, my reminder that everything's gonna be okay. I started with Wild World back in the DS, and my growing obsession with the series only blossomed from there. I played every title for like 100 hours, I collected all the merch, I have all the amiibos. I mean, listen, you heckin' name it, I know everything about this franchise. The reason for my love of this simple little life sim comes from the wonderful space Animal Crossing gives you to just simply be. It's a world that keeps going without you in real time, but will always welcome you back at your best or your worst moments. Your town is yours. Your villagers look up to you, and your house is decorated to a T by your wants and needs. It's all yours in the most lovely and relaxing way possible. So with that being said, look, 2020 has been absolutely awful. It's been worse than awful, to be honest, but in a way the release of a game like Animal Crossing New Horizons couldn't really have come at a more perfect time for me and clearly millions of others. I mean, the game is now maybe the most successful game of all time. While the world progressively gets worse, colder, and more infected outside, I spent most of this year inside, playing Animal Crossing for countless hours because it's a game that soothes me. And let's face it, it's because Animal Crossing is a game that gives you pretty much complete control over a small area that you can call your own. And in a year like 2020, where chaos is rampant and you can't control anything, it's nice that you have something to come home to that acts like a little warm hug, even if it is just your digital dog boyfriend singing to you. I've spent upwards of like 500 hours with this game, made videos about it, and hell, I'm still going strong putting up cute little Halloween decorations and everything. And hey, some may call that sad, but in a year where basic human contact isn't allowed, I'm glad I have a digital way to hang out with my friends, do fun festive events, and, feel a sense of normality, even if it is just on a small little island. It's funny though, as Dem was saying, wholesome games are good ways for people to remain calm and get some very much needed escapism during difficult times. I also think these things can bring people together. Me and Dem have been friends for years, but there was a time where we didn't really talk much, to be honest, and of all things, it was funny enough Detective Froggy that got us back in touch. He sent me a link to it, and I was instantly curious. I mean, how could you not be? Hell, Dem ended up actually buying me the thing on Steam for my birthday, so in a sense, Detective Froggy actually helped me and him reconnect and talk about his lovely little adventure. I think games like this can help people a lot, not just in how lighthearted and caring they are, but how they can actually bring people together. Due to the pandemic, I haven't really been able to see any of my close friends this year, so we've been streaming games on Discord almost every other weekend, and it's become a real gentle respite to the harsh reality that we are living in. Cute little stuff like Bird Museum, Splunky 2, and hell, even the little green detective himself has kept us all entertained, laughing, and above all, happy. With the extreme success of Animal Crossing New Horizons, it's clear wholesome games can be successful, but also bring us together during a time where we are kept apart. As an art form, games can challenge, disturb, and enlighten us, but sometimes it's good to also just let a game give you a hug, both metaphorically and literally. Be kind to yourself, friends. If not for yourself, at least do it for the Detective Frog.
Mental health is a complicated topic for somebody like me to get into, and really I don't want to dive too deep in this video, just because it's not really the time or place for it. I might make a more reflective video in future, but for me at least, I feel like games like Animal Crossing, like A Short Hike, and like Detective Frog are important not just because they're cute and funny and full of these amazing casts of characters that just make me giggle, but also because they help me, at least, with my anxiety and depression and make me smile when nothing else will. I feel like games are a medium for dealing with these mental health problems that hasn't really been properly used, and I feel like it could offer a lot more to the world if it was. Now, I want to be clear, I'm not saying that games can by any means cure mental health problems, because that's a complicated issue in its own right, and if you are having mental health problems, seeing a therapist is a good idea and something everybody should do. But I'm also not blind to the fact that a lot of people cannot afford to see a therapist or cannot see a therapist for other reasons, much like myself, and for those people, at least for me, it's helped to have these things to play, to have something to escape into, and to just disconnect for a little while, because sometimes you do just need to disconnect. And for that, I think indie games and games like this and cute games that make you happy are important. It's important to feel comfortable. It's important to have these comfort games that we all play that are to us what comfort food is to other people. Because the medium of games is more than just pressing buttons and making something happen on the screen. It's more than just AAA studios trying to make games that are like blockbuster movies. It's an interactive medium which speaks with people on a level that other mediums cannot. And as such, it's more important than ever to have these games connect with us and to help us resolve these things that other mediums cannot. I know that I'm rambling and I'll stop, but needless to say, these games have helped me recently, and I think playing them has been good for me. And if you're struggling with mental health issues or dealing with problems, absolutely see a therapist first and foremost, but if you need help outside of that, or if you just want to brighten up your day, I really recommend checking out things that are more friendly, more accessible, more happy, because we surround ourselves a lot with media that's too depressing constantly. And while that media is good, sometimes you just need to disconnect. This video was made with the brief help of Coffee Cakes, a very good and longtime friend, and Little Potato Baby that you should also go subscribe to in the process of following me on my Twitter at DEMENZA'S. I'm in the process of moving right now on top of everything else, so it's been a bit crazy to put together this in the process, but in a way it was good. Therapeutic almost to make videos again. Next video will be another general review, but I think I might also try doing general introspective videos like this in the future again if possible and people don't hate it. The next video might be a bit different than all my others, but I'm just going to be trying a new direction, make it feel a bit more like myself as I've grown more comfortable. I know this thing is a little bit long running, so I won't keep you any longer, but stay safe out there, gamers, and stay inside. Remember to wear a mask and all that. Anyway, my time is running out. I have some business in my car trunk I need to go take care of, but hopefully I'll see you cuties again soon. Till then, stay strapped, gamers, and if you see any tall, spooky creatures in the woods this Halloween, don't follow them. Been there, done that. It never turns out very good. Trust me, okay? Okay, good. Now, I gotta hit the road before they find me, so I'll see you when I see you, I guess.